Alrighty, folks. Welcome back to the Mushing Alaska podcast coverage of the 2023 Iditarod. We're your hosts, Brendan and Sean. And I'm just going to address something real quick for this video. We've been pretty steadfast about not using the Iditarod's website. In full disclosure, for the sake of this podcast, for the sake of these YouTube videos, I got a new computer today. It's a lovely computer, but all these things I have to update. We don't have time for this. We want to talk about the race. We're losing out on time. Here we are recording midnight Eastern Standard Time. Gotta love it. So anyways, we're gonna use the Iditarod's website, but this is the only time we're gonna do it. And we hope that the Iditarod website is not upset at us because this is just a one-time only thing. And
one time only.
One time. So what I would say is something that Sean just said. This is like, treat this as your preview. If you're not an insider on the Iditarod, this is what you're missing out on. Okay. So with that being said, we're gonna get into it. We're on day 6 of the Iditarod.
Damn, it's 6 days. I'm glad you're keeping track. It feels, wow, that's a long ways in. Hope you got it. I guess you have to enable participant screen sharing for my dude.
I will share it for you just like that, sir. So Sean's gonna pull up the map, the tracker, and let's break some stuff down for y'all.
Okay, firstly, let's just look at this Iditarod website. All right, just generally the things I'm looking at are the videos where they have all of the interviews and they show the dog teams and some really, really great footage. Of course, you go to the race center and you've got your checkpoints. This is a place that I visit very often. And look, you got every single checkpoint listed here. You can go to any checkpoint and it has the times of arrival and the times of departure of every musher, how many dogs are on their team, what's their bib number, what's their name, the total rest they took in the checkpoint, the total time they took to get from the previous checkpoint to that checkpoint, and then also the time that they left the previous checkpoint as well. So you can do like some math, like, oh, they left the previous checkpoint here. And so then they, are gonna get to this checkpoint at this time and they're gonna rest for 4 hours and leave. So you can do all this math and figure out kind of what people are doing. And so the GPS doesn't tell you everything, but that GPS is ever so important. So you got the whole trail here and all the mushers and you hover your mouse over the musher, you have the speed, the race mile they're at, their name. You can look at each checkpoint and it gives you a little spiel about the checkpoint and what mile that's at. And so, yeah, this is how we kind of are able to analyze the race. And, right now, everybody is electing where to take their first mandatory 8-hour rest, right? There's 3 mandatory rests, the first of which is the 24-hour rest. Yep. You can take that at any checkpoint you want, but there's typically about 3 or 4 checkpoints that it gets taken at. Secondly, you have an 8-hour rest that you have to take on the Yukon River. However, Shagaluk, even though it's not technically on this long Yukon River, is also a checkpoint that is eligible for that Yukon River rest. So between Shagaluk, Anvik, Grayling, Eagle Island, and Kowtow, you can take that 8-hour rest. And look, we have Jesse Holmes and Brent Sass still out in the lead. But look, I was watching the tracker all day today. I want to give a shout out to my coworker, Matt Sudik, who drove the van in the morning and on the way back. So the whole time on the drive, I was just sitting there scrolling through that GPS tracker. And Sass was moving slower than Holmes, considerably slower. Like 1, maybe 2, sometimes even 2.5 miles an hour slower than Jesse Holmes's team. So I think what we're seeing from Brent Sass is At first I was thinking, okay, maybe the trail where Brent's at is slower than where Jesse's at, but I don't know. I think I'm if I was a guessing man, he's going to take his 8 hour on Eagle Island, hopefully be able to regain that speed. But look, Sebastian Schnull, when he was on the pod, you know what he said? He said once you lose that speed, it's hard to get it back. And so, if you have 1 mile an hour slower than the person that's 10 miles behind you, and you got 500 miles to go, that's not enough. So I feel like Jesse, I know he might be, 15 miles behind him right now, but Jesse's already finished his 8 hour rest, right? So he's going to be resting between 4 and 5 hours. Doesn't have to, but that's usually what you're going to see from these guys, right? 4 and 5 hours. And whereas Brent's going to have to stay for 8 hours. So look, when Brent's sitting at that checkpoint for 8 hours, Jesse's going to be rolling right by. And I think I think he's probably, if they were running the same speed, Jesse's in second place. But I think considering he's got a faster dog team and he's already taken his 8 hour rest, Jesse might kind of be winning this thing right now. And Brent might be kind of losing his grasp on being that front runner. Doesn't mean he's out of it, but I'm seeing a momentum shift.
I
Um,
like it. I like it. Hey, let me
yeah,
ask
dude.
this. Like I'm looking at the tracker. So like they're to me the number one and two, right? They're kind of like they're kind of in an area where you know, Petite is another 13 miles behind Jesse. And you have some of the crew now that's leaving Grayling. But I feel like, I mean, is it too early to say that it's just between Brent and Jesse right now?
No, yes, it is very much too early to say that. And I think that between Ryan Reddington, Richie Deal, and Pete Kaiser primarily, those guys are the chasing pack that seems to be just the closest, at least. Nick Petit ran.
I'm kind of surprised to see him there.
Look, let's look.
Like
Let's go to the checkpoints. Let's go to the checkpoints. Okay, go ahead, Brennan.
I guess I'm just surprised to see Nick there. Like, he took his 24 hours so early. What was that at? At Nikolai, right?
Yes.
So I guess I'm just kind of surprised to see that doesn't seem to, it's not like working against him. I felt like when we were talking to Sebastian that he was kind of implying that maybe wasn't the best move. And I mean, he's in third place right now, so I would say that it wasn't like the worst move.
Yeah, I think you're right. And when I was talking to Tim Pattis about it. He said that it was a pretty good move because he ran, four long hot runs with short rests to Nikolai. So I mean, the dogs were ready for the 24, anyways. And look, he's trying to catch up, and he's honestly doing a pretty good job. I'm looking at these run times though. If you look at all the run times
Wow.
into Anvik from Shagaluk, the slowest runtime is Nick Petit. So he doesn't quite have that speed, and the speed's not something that makes a huge difference, like over the course of 100 or 150 miles, having that like 1 mile an hour difference. But we still got so much race left that's pretty huge. Not being able to kind of gain at least a little bit of distance when you're moving on the competitors that are in front of you, and when you're chasing, the one advantage that the chase pack's supposed to have is that they've rested longer, so they're faster, right? But in theory, right? But Jesse, he just did another Mondo run from Iditarod to Anvik, the same run that Wade did. Let's see. We'll look at how long was Wade's run to Anvik. Let's see. He left Anvik at, let's see where we at. Wade Mars, Anvik. He left Anvik, Brendan, help me out, 1:30 in the morning.
Yep.
Okay. Nick Petit, he left Anvik at 8:12. So, okay, 8:12 p.m. that previous night. You got that?
Yep. So 5.5 hours later, is when um
So Wade left at 1, what did I say, 1 a.m.?
1:30.
1:30. Okay. And he got to Anvik at 11:36.
So
So
10 hours.
that's a 10-hour run. And Nick Petit got there. He left at 8 something, and he got there at 6:54. So he
Almost
was actually
7.
comparable. What's that?
Almost
Almost
11
7, right?
hours.
Almost. So he had. I wasn't too much slower, but I just think he is got a slightly slower speed. I guess that's the point I'm saying. He is gaining on them by cutting rest and doing. He's not necessarily cutting rest, but he's doing long runs. He's done a lot of long runs, and there's a bunch of different strategies to this race. And what Nick's doing is that long run strategy, 79-mile run. You saw him run straight from Rhone to Nikolai. I think he had another monster run between Nikolai and Iditarod, and I'm not sure which one it was. But then you have people doing kind of the opposite. Like these all this pack, Kaiser, Deal, Reddington, they all stopped in Shagaluk and rested, I think, like 4 hours or so, and then they all ran the Grayling, which is only like a 50-mile run. So it's not like, that's not too short, but it's not too long. It's a perfect distance. It's not to not be like that stressful on the dogs, and so they're not quite really pushing yet. Also, Kelly Maxner, I was looking at his replay, and by the way, another cool feature here is, let me see if I can move you out of the way. Get this thing out of the way.
Dude, come on. Why you got to be moving me out of the way, man?
Dude, you're just kind of like, you're getting in my way, dude.
Jeez.
All right. How do I get this thing out of the way? This app's, I don't like this. Close dock. There we go. Look at that. So if you go, you can replay things here. So looking at Kelly Maxner, and let's see, he is resting here in Anvik. And straight up, he had his 24-hour rest in McGrath, and he didn't get to a checkpoint. You can see the teacher. They have a teacher on the trail. So the teacher, Iditarod is a really good. Sorry, I have ADD here, but there's Max. So he was in Grayling. Sorry. So he was in Grayling, and that was the first checkpoint that he stopped at since McGrath at his 24-hour rest. He camped out the whole way. So Maxner's kind of like the new Brent Sass. Yeah, the teacher on the trail. Look, the Iditarod's a great way, if you're a teacher and you're listening to this, to teach your students about math, about geography, about mushing, of course, but reading. Like my friend Alex, growing up in Fairbanks, they'd do Iditaread, and like for each minute the class read, their musher would move a mile across the trail until you got to 1,000 miles or 1,000 minutes of reading, and doing, like you can do algebra and all kinds of stuff. So they send a teacher out onto the trail to learn about the Iditarod so that they can further the teaching of kids via the Iditarod. So my point is, the chasing pack is they're not pushing yet. So it's not like they're trying to catch up yet, but they are going to try to catch up.
Okay.
Right. They're keeping moving. They're keeping it steady. They're keeping a steady pace. And look at these speeds, man. I'm loving seeing this. 9.8 from Pete Kaiser right now. 9.5 from Milla. Then we got 7.7 from Richie. Surprising, but also you got to take these trackers kind of with a grain of salt. Their speeds are not always perfectly accurate. Sometimes you hit like a section, like Richie could be in a section of trail that has like some water in it, or it's like some slush, or it's just softer, right? Ryan Reddington's going 8.8. Kelly's 9.1. Petit, he's got that speed back, it seems, going 8.5 miles an hour. Wade Mars going 8. So it's just, you love seeing a race where everyone's just kind of going over 8 miles an hour. There's years where people were just going like 6. The year Pete Kaiser won, the top 20 teams were going like 6 miles an hour because it nuked snow and it was 30 degrees and it was a super slow trail. So it's fun to see these guys moving fast. And if I was mushing in this, I would be having fun too, because it's fun having a fast dog team. It's not fun going really slow.
Nice. So I wanted to ask you, you were kind of talking to me earlier about Hunter Keefe and Ryan Reddington, and you actually like in this keep it right here, in this run right here.
I just clicked, sorry.
Pull it, make it go back up. Oh, you clicked, never mind.
Yeah.
But
Hunter Keefe.
This
is the run. This is the run.
6:29, right? And then Ryan Reddington 6:51. What are those? The two fastest on that run? Yep.
I'm glad you asked, but because they're not. You know who's faster than Ryan Reddington? It's your girl. It's your girl, Brennan. It's Katie Jo Dieter.
Katie Jo.
Dude. Katie Jo, dude, with the speed, dude. I'm stoked on her race right now, dude. She is coming for that front pack, dude. She's threatening top 15, and I'm just pumped for her, dude. My understanding, I mean, I know she's got the team to do this. This is, Jeff Dieter's a top 15 Iditarod musher in years where there was far more than 33 mushers in the field, by the way. So top 15 has meant so much more in years past. We've had, in 2008, there was 97 mushers in the Iditarod. So, top 15 this year, it's a little bit of an asterisk to it. But not to take away anything from any of those guys that are up there, because the pace of this race, it's such a competitive pace. And man, I'm just super stoked to see fast teams, not from the front to the middle, and even towards the back of the race. You see Ramey going 8.6, Mike Williams Jr. from Bethel going 9.8 miles an hour. Although there are some hills in that section, he could just be going downhill. So, like I said, when you're looking at these speeds, it's not as important as what speed are they going on the GPS tracker as much as it is important. Okay, how long was it from the last checkpoint? Now you look at something like Jesse Holmes. He took 11 hours to get there, but Hunter Keefe took 6 hours and
29 minutes. The fastest run, dude.
How is that possible that Jesse took 5 hours? Oh, I know, Brendan. It's because Jesse camped on that run. All right, so now you can go back to the GPS. You can go to the replay. You can watch the camp. You can even go to the analytics and go to Jesse Holmes, who's already pulled up conveniently. And the green line is his running speed. So when the running speed goes to 0, at approximately 12 o'clock on March 7th, he stopped, and then it goes back up at 4 o'clock. So he took a 4-hour rest here, 4-hour and change rest here, 4-hour rest here. That's what you see all these top mushers doing, is those 4-hour rests. It's enough, but it's not too long. And you can only do so many of those 4-hour rests in a row before your dogs need a proper longer than 4-hour rest, maybe that 8-hour mandatory that you're seeing, or maybe you give them a 5 or a 6. You can do the 4 hours more than 4 runs in a row. You're starting to think, all right, maybe shorten the runs or lengthen the rests, or you can go for it. But if you go for it, you might lose the speed, like you're seeing with B Money, Brent Sass.
Oh man, B Money, you calling him B Money, man?
Hey, Brent Sass, B Money, defending Iditarod champion, currently in first place. I'm gonna say, yeah, he's B Money, dude.
B Money. That's an old nickname for me. So I mean,
okay, that's fair.
Some old co-workers used to call me B Money. So when you said that, I was like, what?
But he's going slow, 6.8. So he's leaving the door open for somebody to walk through. That's what I'm thinking.
Come on, someone.
I'm looking at
take it. Dude, what about Wade?
Dude, Wade, he's a good ways back, and it'd be like the craziest Cinderella story. I'm gonna be honest, but I could see him sneaking into the top 10. And I just don't see him, like, let's say, Sass really slows down and Mars really makes a move. I don't know. I mean, he's been making some moves. He's got a strong dog team, so he's still got like a move left in or two where he can be like, all right, I'm going to run him a long way, or oh, I'm going to, rest only 2 hours, right? So he could shave off that lead, but he can only do so much. So he's a few hours behind. I think he's 4 or 5 hours off of the leading pace. So yeah, I think Richie Deal and Ryan Reddington and Pete Kaiser, those are the three closest mushers. It might say that Nick Battie is closer, but when you look at how long his rests have been and how long his runs have been, it's a deceiving that he's in third place. He owes the dog some rest by how much miles he's running, and he's going to give him that rest when he gets to one of these checkpoints, or maybe he's going to camp out the dogs. So yeah, Ryan Reddington, he's running a really good race, really impressed, and he's got a fast, strong dog team, and he's just stoked in his interviews. All right, so that's kind of the race update. I can go and through every single musher if you want, but we're still rooting for Greg to kind of catch up here. He seems like he's kind of not resting as long and making an honest effort to kind of get back with the group. And it's a lonely place back there. Bridget Watkins, she's not seeing anybody. She's got
Yeah,
there's
I
no
was thinking
musher.
I was thinking about her earlier.
Yeah,
All that pack in green that's behind her. She was at that checkpoint with them, and she left way before all of them. She's
she's another shout out, like Katie Joe, like Bridget Watkins. I would have,
dude.
thought
The
personally that she would be kind of closer to that backpack, but she's really put like separated herself from the back of the pack.
dude, her social media game is so strong. Both of them, honestly. What was it? Is Katie Watkins is she's Kennel on a Hill,
Bridget
right?
Watkins.
Or excuse me, Bridget Watkins.
Yeah. Yeah. Kennel on a Hill. And
Yeah,
I think that Katie Joe Dieter is Black Spruce Kennel.
yeah. So
And Jeff is her husband.
they're just like, every time I see any content from them, it just like puts a smile on my face. So shout out to them for sure.
And I just want to give it also like a shout out to the back of the pack. And everybody kind of like thinks, I don't know. I think that there is a tendency to think of the back of the pack as like, oh, they're just kind of moving slow and taking it easy. Like, dude, no, they're running like 100+ miles a day, still getting like 3 hours of sleep, and like outside in the winter, like running through the wilderness of Alaska in some crazy conditions. So like they're badass. All right. So let's pivot away from the Iditarod website, and we're gonna go to Facebook,
Dude,
where I
dude.
have found. Go ahead.
Okay, so when you told me that you wanted to talk about this today, I it just put a smile on my face because I happened to come across Iditarod Outsider, and I was just like, what's going on here? I'm loving the vibes. And so, we're like meeting before we started to do this recording, and Sean's like, dude, did you see that Iditarod Outsider? I'm like, I did. It's awesome. So I'm glad that you wanted to bring him up. What do you got to say?
Dude, these guys, like, there's no mushing memes. They're rare to come across, but these guys are the king or queen. I think queen. I'm not sure who runs the page, but she or he is badass and hilarious, and also informative. Like, you can go and check out Pete Kaiser's website, where you have race updates about what's happening from Pete Kaiser's perspective and the front runners. Or you can go and see this incredible story of Richie Deal's wife and kiddo going to visit Richie. Look at that. Going to visit Richie in Grayling.
Oh
And Richie gets
man.
to spend time with his newborn baby. We love
How
babies.
how old is Bebe?
Dude, I don't know shit about babies, dude. You tell me.
I was gonna say, I mean, like, having gone through having a child in the last year, I can't imagine the feeling of going through what he's going through and being able to just have that moment right there. It's like it almost makes me emotional just seeing it. I did a sprint triathlon at the end of last year, and having Hatcher, shout out to Hatcher Pass, having Hatcher there, it was definitely
Your
emotional
son.
for me. Yeah, Hatcher's my
Yeah.
son. That's his name. Shout out to Hatcher Pass. After, shout out to Alaska, where things maybe my son was created there, maybe he wasn't.
You don't know.
Um, that's probably too much information, but yeah, just like having him there at as I finished. Actually, that wasn't my sprint triathlon. That was a regular triathlon. That was my first regular triathlon, and I can only imagine. I mean, I'm sure, especially when he gets to know him, it's going to be even a little bit more emotional. But, anyways, I won't get lost on talking about my emotions right now. But
So
yeah, give them a follow. Check out their stuff. They have all sorts of
yeah,
memes. It's going to make you laugh. If you're paying attention to some of the small details of the race, they're like taking some of that. They, he, she, whoever is taking some of that and giving it some fun little
look at
twists.
this. This is hilarious. So this is a picture of Pete Kaiser from when he was like 9 years old or whatever.
Oh
uh,
man,
and then what do
it's
we see?
this one's good. The
You know,
Mushers, yeah,
the Kuskokwim's favorite boy band. These are all the Bethel kids. There's Mike Williams, Pete Kaiser, Richie Deal. They're all like homies. And then like some of these look at these nicknames they have for these guys. We got Shake and Baker on the chase. We have Richie the Greek Freak Deal in second at mile 5:23, and Slippery Pete Kaiser 3 miles behind. Oh man. And then look at this. This is great.
I've been working pretty hard to keep this lead. This sweater was white and willow.
Gosh, that's good stuff. This is the content that we need.
Yeah,
And there's one more. Here's another nickname, Richie, System of the Dog Deal. Just great. Brent, not broken sass. They called Jesse's name was he called Jesse What Up Holmes, or something like that. We got Milla the Porsche Porson. Yeah, he's gonna make a great couch musher someday. That's like, by the way, this photo, one of my favorite all time
dude, I've seen
sled
this
dog
photo
photos.
like pop up like 10
It's going
times.
viral.
Yeah,
This dog is
it's
just baking in the sun, having a good old time.
just going to sleep. Is it possible there's a second dog in front there too?
I think that's just like sometimes they have
Oh, that's probably part
harnesses
of the
with the
jacket or
furry.
something. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, this is another good one. Pete sees a quarter on the trail and sprints to get it. Every cent counts when owning a dog team. Yep, all
Which,
the mushers are broke.
well, but that's also like I'm pretty sure it was like Bruce Lee was saying something where like every mile counts, So it's like it's kind of a twist on that
Uh,
too.
let's see. I wanted to show this bad. So you get all these awards. Jesse Holmes was the first to the Yukon River Award, so he got like a bunch of cash, I think, maybe, and this amazing looking meal. Look, this is in the village in the middle of nowhere. This looks like a 5-star dish right here, and he got two of them. And also this, whatever, that's a filet mignon, some mushroom glaze on there, dude. What is that going on? What are you seeing right here?
I'm seeing voluptuous food, man. It just looks so tasty. I can only imagine like the quality of food that you eat along the trail is not that good. And getting this meal just has to be heavenly.
Oh,
It was funny. I was listening to one of the videos and they were like, Jesse's on his way in and we'll see if he's going to stay here or if he's just going to blow by. And yeah, like you're damn right. He took his 8 hours there and got that meal.
heck yeah, yeah. Just for your information, a lot of the mushers send out a second sled just in case their sled breaks to some of these larger checkpoints. So you see some mushers ended up breaking their sled and swapping them out. Like Ryan Reddington was one of those people. Um, I don't know who else, but it happens every year. It's never a bad idea to send out a second sled. And yeah, Wade Mars won first to the halfway point of Iditarod. These checkpoints are, they have like little awards along the way. So he had first to, what was it? I want to say it was maybe first to McGrath was an award. You have first to Iditarod, which is halfway. Excuse me. First to Anvik, which is means first to the Yukon River, right? And so like, when Wade got to Iditarod, he got $3,000 worth of gold.
Yeah,
You could either get that or get a new iPhone. He's like, you kidding me? Getting
yeah,
that gold, baby.
yeah. It's so funny. Every year that award, every musher always takes the gold.
Always takes the gold, dude. Come on, when are you gonna get like a gold nugget? I can get an iPhone time.
Exactly.
You got first to the coast. So when someone gets the Uniloclete, they're gonna get an award for being the first to the coast, and I think they get like a bunch of salmon and maybe a meal or something. I don't know. And yeah, and then there'll probably be an award for first to White Mountain, and of course the biggest award that everybody cares about the most is first to Nome. Who's gonna finish in first? And I think it's a pretty close race between Brent Sass, Jesse Holmes, Richie Deal, Pete Kaiser, Ryan Reddington. You've got other mushers pushing: Nick Petit, Mila Porceld, Hunter Keefe, Eddie B, Matt Failer, dude. Matt Failer's running really strong right now. Has some really fast run times, great run times from the two rookies. And dude, that is an epic battle, dude. Hunter Keefe and Eddie B. I mean, they both deserve rookie of the year. Yeah. And I feel like any other year they would get it. And so this is really exciting. And I'm sure that they're resting at a checkpoint together, I think, right now. I'm sure they're kind of talking shit, but also like happy to see each other. So that's just so cool. I love that race within the race.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll be interested to watch that. I know Eddie has about like an hour and 20 minutes on him right now, based on when he got into the checkpoint, but still a lot of mileage to go. So we'll see how it all plays out.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, I know it's late where you're at in Atlanta.
Yes, sir.
And the night is young here. It's only 8:30. But we'll leave it here, and we're gonna link up with Chad Stouter, the rookie of the year from 2021, and seventh place, or was it? Yeah, seventh place finisher, I think, in 2022. Yeah. So this guy, he is he's a freak about following this race. The guy, I saw him the other day, and he's like, "Well, what happens is, the analysis that I have is just fucking weak sauce compared to these guys that are they see it all." So I'm excited to get someone else's opinion in here about what they think about how the race is unfolding as we approach the coast, get these 8-hour Yukon River rests in, and get to the part where the race begins.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I think we should call it, and hope you guys enjoy. We'll have another one out for you here shortly.